Men are polygamous by nature. Do you believe that? As a man, do you feel that way? Have you said that to a lady? As a lady, has a man ever told you that? Today, we'll find out if that is true or not. So that statement I opened with has been flying online for the past few weeks, and as well several versions of it. There is a morally aware one that goes something like, men are promiscuous by nature. Or the latest one I heard last week, monogamy is a social construct. We're going to address all of that today. What is really going on? Before we can answer that, we need to talk about what we are. We humans often think about who we are, but we need to talk about what we are. So, what are we? We are animals. Yes, we humans, because we have a quality of mind, a quality of consciousness, a quality of self awareness, in a very different way from what any animal has. That quality of mind makes us live in a very different way from the way the rest of the animal kingdom lives. And that difference in our way of life, that singular thing that has made a huge difference, often makes us forget that in a very big way, we are just like animals. But what do I really mean that we are just like animals? Two things. We share so many appetites with the rest of the animal kingdom. Our appetite for food, for sex, for fun, for playing, even for rest, and a lot other appetites. We share it with the animal kingdom. It's not unique to us. And there's another extra bit to it. Those appetites, it doesn't become something else other than what it is, other than the animalistic drive that they have as it exists in all other animals. They remain drives, or what you might call instincts. Instincts are very different from something else that humans have, which we can call intuition, or something even deeper than that, which we can call conviction. Yes, humans have that, and we'll get to it. But there is that part of us that is called instinct. Any Bible reader should know that passage from Peter where it says, "Some men are like creatures of instinct, and like creatures of instincts, they will be caught and destroyed." The same way you can trap an animal with, with putting food so that you lure them into a trap and trap them. So many men live that way. And maybe that already signals what we're talking about today when it comes to sexuality. So many men live in a way that they are only driven by instincts, and they've become creatures that will be trapped by their instincts. But the point I'm making, let me restate it. The animalistic part of us doesn't become anything else other than animalistic. It remains primal drives. It remains instinct. It doesn't become something else. And that is at the heart of what is going on. For those people who say men are polygamous by nature, or monogamy is a social construct, this is what is going on with them. That appetite, it gets aroused by several ladies, not just one person. The idea of soulmate, it's not only unbiblical, I don't even think it's practical, but we won't address that today. As a man, you might be aroused by more than one person. You see a beautiful lady, sometimes you're just attracted, sometimes you're beyond attracted, you're aroused, your pants are set on fire because she looks sexy. And it happens with more than one person. Now, rather than the response of, well, this isn't something to be pursued, this is something to be reined in, we want to excuse that appetite, we want to pursue that appetite, and so we resort to such sayings like polygamy. Men are polygamous by nature, or monogamy is a social construct. But let's even address that. What do we mean by monogamy is a social construct? First of all, we need to maybe just explain or define what we mean by social construct. This is not the dictionary definition, just a working definition that I think should also agree with dictionary definition. Social construct simply means the ways in which humans think society should be organized, and which they've agreed as a society to organize human life, either around sex or around politics or around whatever aspect of human life, any way in which we've chosen or we've agreed to organize society is what you can call a social construct. So men figured out a good way, or sometimes the best way in which certain aspects of human life should be pursued, the structure and context in which it should be pursued. Wise men in society have figured it out and they've shared that vision with the rest of humanity, and we've bought into it. But some who are driven by their animalistic part and who don't want to rein it in, who don't want to resist it, feel like rather than accepting it, let's scrap it. So when they say uh, monogamy is a social construct, the unsaid part is that men came up with it. Men made it up. So let's scrap it. Rather than say men figured it out, they want to say men made it up. So that, because if men made it up, why can't we get rid of it? Let's scrap it away and pursue our desire. Let's have as many sexual partners as we can. But if you want to go down that route, I think we need to help you push it to its limit. If monogamy is a social construct and you want us to get rid of it so that you can pursue such inordinate impulses, there are people who also have other kinds of inordinate impulses. Their sexual drives take them in a very different direction from where you want to go. So they too want to say stuff like incest is a social construct. Sometimes there are people who find themselves attractive or attracted to or attracted by their sibling, their cousin, and they want to go for it. They haven't learned that that is bad and get rid of it, do something about it, but never pursue it. They feel like, why can't I pursue it? If you go the route of monogamy is a social construct, they too can also say incest is a social construct. Or to take it even further, there are those who are aroused by animals, other animals, if I may say, since we've agreed that we humans are also animals on a level. There are those who want to say, I'm aroused by a cow, a goat, a dog, a cat. Why can't I pursue it? And they want to say bestiality is a social construct. There are those who want to say that too. We all know that many of us, or most of us, would agree that that's just degeneracy. But they can also go that route. And maybe the message is that for you who think monogamy is a social construct, maybe you're also trying to devolve into some form of degeneracy and you just haven't realized it. And that's what I want you to realize today. But to really drive the message home, there are those who can also say adultery is a social construct. Yes, you got married to that lady. Yes, you and her family, both of you agreed to, to be committed to each other. Her family and your family agreed to it, and the government agreed to it. You signed a piece of document to show that, to be proof or evidence for that. But why should I care about all that? I should be able to, lure her into having sexual intercourse or intimacy with me. Why should I honor your marriage relationship? I can also go that way, or people who are driven that way can also say, adultery is a social construct. So just saying monogamy is a social construct is not an argument for promiscuity. It isn't. It isn't the argument you think it is. Any way human life is organized, some people figured it out. And thank God for those who figured it out. They are those who are wiser than us, those who have learned not to be stuck in their animalistic parts. They are driven by something deeper than instinct, which is what I said earlier, intuition. Their intuition has been able to tap into the what you can call the best vision for how human sexuality should be pursued and explored, or even something deeper than instinct, something deeper than intuition, conviction. It not only appears to them, something has grabbed them within to say, this is the way a human should live. There are those wiser men, more mature humans who have that instinct and that conviction, and they've shared it with us. Thank God for those men who figured it out. So calling it a social construct does nothing to it. It doesn't touch it. it still stands. Yes, men figured it out. They didn't make it up. Men figured it out. And they figured it out because it turns out to be the best way humans should live, the best way humans should explore sexuality. But what do you need to do when your animalistic drives are trying to take over you and overrule your good judgment, the quality of mind that God has given you to be able to tap into that vision of how humans should pursue sexuality? What should you do when your primal animalistic desires are trying to override that good judgment? What you need is self-control and patience. Those sound like Bible terms, and yes, they are biblical terms, but I want us to just come at it from just first principles, stuff we can all agree on. What else do you want to do to your appetites that are going in every direction, that are running wild? What do you want to do to that? I've often said for many years now, well, to just people close to me, that our, our balls don't have brains, and that's why God gave us brains. I've often said that. Your balls don't have brains. It doesn't think. It just has desires, appetite, instinct. But you need to do something about them. What you need to do is rein them in. And reining them in looks like self-control and patience. So, yes, they are biblical terms, but they are very human terms. And that's one of the things I've also tried to apply in my life, or put to practice in my life. Don't try to see the Bible or the scriptures as some book that fell out of heaven, all bound with leather backs. No, no, no. I don't try to treat the Bible like that. These are the visions of God for humanity through wise men, or what you can call holy men, or who you can call prophets, who were able to tap into that original vision for humanity, for different aspects of human life. Again, you can list them: sexuality, money, politics, government, power, all that stuff. Wise men who have been grasped by something stronger than just instinct, and have been able to see that vision of God's original plan, God's original design for how certain human appetites should be explored and pursued. Those men, those wise men, they've been able to tap into that. And rather than dismiss their vision, we need to appreciate them for it. They are the ones who are maybe also learned self-control and learned patience. So the Bible is addressing our human life. The men who were inspired to write what we see in the Bible and who use those words, self-control and patience, they are also grasping with human life and giving a message from God, or a message from their heart, a message deeper than instinct, a message of conviction, a message of intuition and conviction. That's what the Bible is. So from now on, don't treat the Bible like some foreign thing, but something meant for our world. And so it's a human thing. It's not just a Bible language. Self-control and patience, it's a human word. It's a human language. And we need to learn not just the language, but the virtue, the practice. That's what we need to do. When you see your desires going in all kinds of crazy direction, you need to rein it in. And reining it in looks like self-control and patience. That's how you rein it in. And you develop something you can call second nature. The nature, not first nature. Nobody says first nature, but nature is what you can call instinct. Second nature is what you have to train yourself to do, but it comes to a point where you also do it naturally. It becomes natural to you, but you have to train yourself to do it. You need to do that. So those virtues that we can call second nature, the Bible calls it the fruit of the Spirit. And I decided to bring that up in order to identify, or to point out that we need the Spirit of God. We need the Spirit of God to be fully human, because to develop patience and self-control is part of what it means to be fully human. And we need the Spirit of God to do that. That's why the Bible calls it, or Paul calls it, the fruit of the Spirit. Paul has the imagery of a tree, you have to cultivate a tree. A tree can grow wide. If you want it to produce fruit, you kind of have to cultivate it. You have to trim its edges. If it's growing limbs and branches where it shouldn't, you have to cut it off, and you have to limit the number of branches so that it can use most of its resources in actually producing fruits. And the picture I want to draw out from that is you have to do some work in order for the tree to produce fruit. You have to do work. It just doesn't happen automatically. You have to do some work in order to get the best results from that tree. Farmers know that. And if you know anything about farming, you should already know that too. So the same way, the fruit of the Spirit doesn't just mean it happens automatically. You have to do some work. And that's the work of what I said, development. Developing it in a way that it becomes second nature. And that is when it becomes automatic, when you have developed it. But again, to go back to my final point, you need the Spirit of God to do that. You need the Spirit of God to even have that vision. We have this tendency to devolve into our animalistic nature, when it often is something that comes from the outside that gives our intuition that vision of this is what it means to be human. And even deeper than that, Spirit of God that also gives us that conviction, not just the intuition, that not just the vision of this is what it means to be human, or this is how to pursue sexuality in the human world, but that conviction to actually go through with it, to want to live that way. It's given by the Spirit of God. So always learn to pray for the Spirit. I hope that instructs you. I hope that is insightful for you. I hope that blesses you. Goodbye.